You know when you watch something online and you think, who the hell would ever watch this? Well, as it just so happens, this past weekend, I was fed a healthy diet of ass cheeks as I watched probably one of the worst animes I've seen in a while. Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro is what this show is called. It's crazy because it sounds like it would be a hentai, but the manga cover looks like something you'd find in a pedophile's basement. This probably won't shock you just from looking at the cover alone, but this anime has nothing, man. No good characters, no plot, no story. You couldn't even get some fucking titties on the screen until the last 2 episodes. It was ridiculous. And today we're gonna talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anime Review. Alright, now watch me wombo combo this anime in real time. So, this show, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, is about a talented artist named Naoto Hachiuji. I'm actually impressed with how I said that. It's like I'm half Japanese, bro. You would think with a name like Naoto, he would be swole as fuck, using your girl as a bench press. But that couldn't be farther from the truth, because this dude is a sissy bitch, and he gets bullied by literally everybody in the show. Now our story begins when Naoto meets an underclassman named Nagatoro. Now, you'll notice I said the words, our story begins. I'm using that term lightly, because I could describe more of the story to you. But that's it. That's it. That's the show! Seriously, I actually genuinely went to Crunchyroll because I thought I was missing something. You know, maybe there's some hidden, super deep philosophical meaning behind this show and what it stands for. So I look at the anime's description on Crunchyroll, and this is what it says. A girl in a lower grade just made me cry. One day, Senpai, otherwise known as Naoto, visits the library after school and becomes the target of a super sadistic junior. The name of the girl who teases, torments, and tantalizes Senpai is Nagatoro. She's annoying yet adorable. It's painful, but you still want to be by her side. This is a story about an extremely sadistic and temperamental girl, and you'll feel something awaken inside of you. I definitely feel something awakening inside of me. It's called pain. So you'll notice that even Crunchyroll themselves, they struggle to sum up what this show is about. I mean, for most of the show, we're in the same art club room with Naoto, Nagatoro, and with her friends that all have the personality of a cardboard box. This entire show is riveting, with most of it just being about Nagatoro bullying the absolute hell out of Naoto. Now, to my shock and horror, there is actually an overwhelmingly large amount of people that enjoy this show. When I go through the reviews for this show, it's like going through an apocalypse of degeneracy, because there's no shortage of some of the worst takes I've ever seen. Now, without further ado, let's get into why this show is terrible. Reason number 1. Now, I've already touched on this, but where the fuck is the plot? It's like searching for your dad after he went to buy milk 50 fucking years ago. He's gone, bro. He's gone. Honestly, this show is just filler, man. Like, you could put me in episode 1 or you could put me in episode 8. I will not be able to tell the difference. Now, believe it or not, this show actually does eventually get a plot, but it's not until the last 2 episodes. And remarkably, you still have no fucking clue what's happening. So, spoilers alert if you're gonna watch the show, but seriously, don't. It'll be a waste of time and you'll hate yourself after. So here is the remarkable 2-plot story that starts in episode 10 of this 12-episode show. Basically, the MC Naoto runs the art club in the absence of the art club president. Then, remarkably, out of nowhere in episode 10, this big, titty, goth, anime girl comes out of nowhere and is like, I want to see how seriously you've been taking the club, the art club. And lo and behold, he's drawn a cat girl. How poetic. So after seeing the cat girl, she's basically like, alright, I've seen enough cringe for today. I'm gonna shut down the art club in, like, tomorrow, a week, or a month. I don't remember what she said, but she's gonna shut it down. But then the two of them agree to an art competition in order to save the club. It's Naoto versus the club president. And, you know, Naoto obviously draws as many cat girls as he possibly can, and he wins the competition somehow, and ends up saving the art club. Hooray! And that's the end. The plot is about as deep as a kiddie pool, brother, and I felt like blowing my brains out a lot throughout this series. I also think it's important to mention that I've watched this entire show when I was at a heavy metal festival, so, you know, after a day of headbanging and smoking weed secondhand, I was pretty baked. My judgment was pretty clouded. So I think that's probably why I was able to finish this show in the first place. I do want to talk super briefly about the characters and their development, which is funny because there is none. Like, it's impressive that the characters in this show have less of a soul than Michael McCrudden from before they were famous. Honestly though, this show had so much potential with Nagatoro and Naoto. I can't remember that dude's name. He's so unmemorable. That's not a word, I don't think, but you get the idea. He's just so forgettable. But the dynamic between those two characters was super interesting because they were polar opposites from each other. It just became super repetitive to watch Nagatoro say the same 4 lines and just kick the shit out of Naoto. Like, man, I love domestic abuse more than the next guy, but even that was a little too much for me. I also want to mention how important it is for characters to actually have, like, goals in a series because, you know, that's what keeps the story moving, man. And you look at the two characters. Naoto didn't have any. Nagatoro didn't even have any, unless you count her trying to make Naoto kill himself. But it really made the show slow down, and it felt like it had absolutely no direction the entire length of the show. Even the last 2 episodes, the plot that it got, it just felt so hollow and empty, like my goddamn soul, brother. Now I want to try and break down why people might enjoy this show, because it's honestly one of science's biggest mysteries, probably. I mean, I think it's even crazy that people have a different opinion from me. That's crazy. What, are they gonna give women's rights next? So having relatable characters, I think, is always something that makes someone watch a show even if the show is shit. I think a lot of people watching the show put themselves in the shoes of Naoto, whereas I put myself in the shoes of the big-tittied goth president, because I also have a fat fucking dumpy. But if you look at Naoto, he's reserved, lonely, and artistic. At least one of those traits fits every anime viewer. If not, it fits most anime viewers. So even though he's got negative character depth, he's got no fucking goals, I feel like his behavior and personality really stick out to the people watching, and it really resonates with people. I mean, if I was in high school, back in the day when I was terrified and cringe at everything I did, I would probably find the show amazing because I would see a lot of myself in Naoto, especially the getting bullied part. I really can't put into words what you feel on when you see someone that's going through the exact same thing you're going through in a show, but I imagine that is a huge reason as to why people stick with this shit show. Another reason that I think people might stick with this show, even though it's pretty ass buns, is the same reason that I think everybody sticks with a shitty romance show that is absolutely ass buns. The ending. I'm about to burst your bubble, blow your fucking mind. Most people watch anime romance shows to see the two characters get together. I mean, being a connoisseur of degeneracy myself, I've watched so many of those shows. And let me tell you, more often than not, I would watch a shitty show if I wanted to just see the two characters get together. Sometimes the show would be so bad, I wouldn't even know how the characters would get together in the first place. But that is the fun part, and that's the reason most people watch the romance genre. At least that's what I think. Now, I have some final thoughts. It's time to wrap this bitch up. I honestly think this anime genuinely had so much potential. It seems to be this huge trend for terrible romance anime to have this, like, insanely good concept or have a really solid start, and then it just goes all immediately downhill at like a fucking 90-degree angle after the first episode. It should be studied. I also think that Nagatoro seriously had the potential to be a really good character, but they fucking wasted all that and made her absolutely insufferable. And I'm so mad about it. I'm also 90% sure that this anime was probably super duper low budget. Like, you know, I'm not an anime guru by any means. I don't work in the animation industry. But, you know, the background people had no fucking eyes, man. And the introduction, the anime opening, was just scenes from the show with 1000% more epilepsy. So, going off a limb here, I'm pretty sure the show was really low budget. Which is fine. I mean, some people can make amazing shows out of a crappy budget. It's totally possible. A high budget doesn't make a show great or anything like that. But it definitely helps. Now, honestly, even though I didn't like the first season, like, at all, it seems like a lot of people really enjoyed the show. And I think it's even got a 2nd and 3rd season now by the time I'm making this video. So people must be enjoying it. Hey, maybe it's like some Da Vinci masterpiece that people are just praising and bowing down to. Maybe I'm just completely in the wrong. I don't know, man. But anyway, I give this show 16 sticky notes out of 10 candles.